How's that? Ooh, bit horrible, right? Let's put some filters on that. How's that? Good, 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 good. You can hear me now. That's helpful. All right. Well, I appreciate you dropping in, Vegan Gaze. It was nice to talk to you the other week. Big fan of your channel, as I said, so I appreciate you coming by and helping me out noobishly live streaming with my mic muted. Yeah, I'll be speaking to Ask Yourself very shortly. And I encourage everyone to do this action.thehumaneleague.org, various campaigns, what we sent to University of Cambridge. It's another Radisson thing, huh? True, Ingus. Nice, yeah. Alright, thank you, yes. I guess something wacky in my OBS settings. Good thing I started a little bit early so I get it sorted out. Oh, really? Well, at least you know how to make it turned on during your live stream. That's a good place to start, you know. Alright, I appreciate you. Take it easy, Al. That was nice. Vegan Gaze dropping by to help me get my mic turned on before I go ahead and do a whole live stream. Now, hopefully you can also hear my computer audio. You should be hearing faint to lo-fi right now. And that'll be an indication that you'll be able to hear AY in a moment. Yeah, we're back down to a 1 week streak on action.thehumaneleague.org. Hey, Miss Teaspoon. Thanks for coming by. Does that work? Oh yeah, it does. Nice. I need to make sure I'm in the right place on Discord as well. I know what I'll do is I'll post the link to this stream in the AY Discord, and then a bunch of people will come in here. Go ahead and get that. I don't know if I'm in the right place on Discord. Oh. Oh,
Yo.
hey. How's it? Can you hear
hello?
me? Oh, maybe you can't hear me.
Your mic is a little quiet over there.
Ah, it's quiet? Okay. Ah,
Yeah, it looks like you're not fully lighting up,
how,
so
how's that?
well, that's better. Yeah,
Nice. Nice, how are you doing?
pretty well, pretty well. And yourself?
Good. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Yes, we kind of flaked on last month. I kind of flaked on last month, I should say. Just been a very
Yeah,
busy time with work lately. You know how it be.
yeah, that's okay. No worries, it happens.
Yeah, how's life treating you? You're fully doing your own thing in whatever shape that may be now.
Yep, it's pretty good. I'm just chugging away at code, and yeah, soon I'll be pretty much done with the code part, and then I'm gonna focus on this debate course. So I think something similar to what I said last time, just kind of heading through that last phase.
Nice, nice. Um, yeah, well, it's good when you have like a big overarching project like that to work on, and then it's takes some time, but it all feels like good progress being made.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of work, but I'll be very happy when it's done. I mean, not everything is about the debate stuff is something I'm building on top of it. What I'm doing right now is really building the foundations, but yeah, once the foundation is done, which it essentially is, I'm just kind of finishing up some last things. Then I've pretty much got a censorship proof extensible place to make content. It's not limited to video. It's not gonna ever be taken down by anybody. And I can just do what I want on it. I can make activities, I can make courses. Yeah, I mean, I've got other things I need to do in my life. I won't be able to like just full time do content all the time, but I'll be able to do what I want to and put a good chunk of time into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Will you be having other people contribute content? I can imagine you know some people who are very good at nutrition stuff, for example, maybe do some nutrition content for the platform.
Potentially. I mean, it's going to be open source, so people can contribute really at all levels. Like if they have some kind of video, that could be interesting, but also text, they'll be able to contribute text. They can program, they can contribute code. You know, if they think there's something that would be useful to visualize or to make automated or interactive, it's all there out in the open, so people can do stuff with it. And you know, part of the other benefit of doing it open source is other people can do similar stuff themselves. Like they'd have to build the tech foundation to be able to work with the code, but given that foundation, they can pretty much just do what they want. Also, I'm just gonna get water. You just got to give me like 1 minute here. Sorry about that.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. Um, I've planned a few good things for us to look at. Yeah, one of them is this the Reddit whistleblower. Anyone see about that? You guys hear about the whistleblower on Reddit? Who was paid to discredit veganism online. It's one of the things I'll invite AY to take a look at. Just going to basically read him 3 things that will probably trigger him this evening. Let me not do
Okay,
that one.
sorry about that.
Hey, no worries. I have a big old 2-litre water tanker that I always have with me. So
Nice. Yeah, I have a 1 liter mason jar.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
Um, so I've got a few things to share with you this evening. Some of them you might have seen before. Some of them you might not have because they're kind of new. But they're really. I haven't actually read any of them in full, so they're really just
Sure.
like a few things for us to react to together, basically.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, they're all vegan things, and they're all things that I thought will be kind of up your street and similar to the things that we've spoken about before. Well, actually, yeah, there's one about crop deaths which we will take a look at. But this one really caught my eye, and I thought I have to go through this with you. It's an article in The Spectator called "Why Are Vegans So Philosophically Confused?"
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Sounds like a very confident article.
Yeah, well, sounds like it, right? Well, let's. Do you want me to send this to you on Discord, or I can just read it to you? I'm gonna read it to stream anyways.
Yeah, it's best if I can see it.
Okay, let me send this to you in DMs. Yeah, like I said, I haven't read this, but I gather it's going to be good fodder for us.
Okay. By Melissa Kite. Can't say I've ever heard of Melissa Kite. Who's Melissa Kite?
I don't know. Let's see if it has any more information about this person. This is author at The Spectator. This is like generally a conservative outlet. I guess she's just like generally a conservative journalist.
Yeah, I'm just looking her up. 1972. British journalist, columnist at The Spectator. Written articles for other newspapers. Not exactly a lot here. Okay, well, Melissa Kite. So what do you want to do? Are you saying you want to read it out loud for your stream, and then we'll like talk about it after, or talk about it as we read it?
Yeah, why don't I read it, and you can feel free to interrupt at any point and just react to anything that's been said, basically.
Sure. I can't see the whole thing here because of some kind of, what is this, Black Friday sale thing popping up?
There's some sort of paywall situation. So this is weird that this works, right? But when you load an article that has this paywall thing going on, if you just hit escape before the page fully loads, you can just glitch to the full article. Yeah, refresh the page and just hit escape.
That would be some hilarious engineering.
It works on so many outlets with these paywalls, honestly.
Really? Sort of spammed escape. It's like it's just got me stuck on a blank page.
I guess you have to let it sort of just about load. I don't know if it's something. Anyways.
Not sure about that strategy. Are you able to copy paste the text and send it to me?
Yeah, let me do that. Will that work? Yeah, it'll be alright.
Yeah, you might have to put it into a file because Discord has a limit on the size of a message.
Oh yes, I see it has.
Oh, never mind.
Well, it's made it a little text thing.
Maybe I can just download it and read it. Okay, alright.
Is that alright? It's a bit monospaced.
Just trying to see if it looks the same as what's on this site. Yeah, I mean, I think I've got it all here. It ends with I have to pretend crazy stuff is normal.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Yep, I've got it here.
Nice. Okay, sweet. Well, yeah, I'll just read and yeah, feel free to interrupt at any point. I read I just about skimmed this enough to be relatively sure it's not satire. If it is satire, I'll be very disappointed. I'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that some cringy anti-vegan thing reads like potential satire.
Right, sometimes it's difficult to know the difference, I guess. Okay, let's go. The solar panel fitter was eating his fried breakfast when the talkative vegans came into the kitchen. They surveyed his plate of bacon, eggs, sausage and black pudding with a look of disgust before helping themselves to cereal, which they doused in the soya milk they had gone to the supermarket to buy, because I refused to stock milk alternatives. Well, that's the kind of person they were dealing with here. What people eat is now a political issue hotter than the Middle East. It would be easier and safer for me to ask a B&B guest's views on a two-state solution than to say, what would you like for breakfast? When I ask a guest what they want for breakfast, the vast majority tense up, flush red, and begin listing what they will and will not eat, with their myriad complicated reasons. There is no cohesion or commonality, and each vegan misunderstands how difficult it would be to predict their niche preference, because the last one had a different idea. Okay,
I don't believe this.
Yeah, now it looks like this is the bit that caught my eye. This seems to be like, because there are different vegan milks, that's inconsistent. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I can't tell if this is. I mean, this has got to be just some made up story. I don't know if you're like, I don't know her. Are you supposed to read this like it's obviously not a real story, or are we supposed to believe this actually happened? I mean, this isn't anything that I have ever seen with vegans in my life, unless you're just talking about, the normal choice paralysis that people have, which isn't specific to vegans. Like if you have a bunch of options or something.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird. When I ask a guest, it's not even talking about vegans here necessarily. The vast majority tense up, flush red. What, of guests in general? Okay.
Yeah, is it guests in general?
I don't know.
So yeah, this is a very weird thing to say. When I ask a guest what they want for breakfast, the vast majority tense up. Okay, so you're a weird person. You're somehow, if that's true, you're just very weird, and you're somehow making people around you feel uncomfortable. That sounds like a you problem. That's not a normal reaction when you ask people what they want to have for breakfast. That's very weird. Like, is this your experience with other human beings at all?
Not in general, no. Yeah, this is a weird.
No, this is
I
like super fucking strange. This would be like, when I say hi to someone, they seem to always cower in fear. Like, what's going on with people? Well, that's not a normal reaction. If that's happening, then there's probably something wrong with you.
I'm assuming that they're meant to have, that they have a missing word, and they are meant to be saying when I ask a vegan guest what they want for breakfast, because otherwise it's just kind of. And then it's going on to a supposed critique of veganism, which I think is, well, yeah.
It sounds weird that she'd have that many vegan guests to even be talking about the vast majority.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, this just sounds strange. It seems like she just went on, like, maybe this didn't actually happen, and she was just trying to somehow create some context for her article, and it just came out, like, weird. Or this is actually the case, and she scares people or makes them feel really uncomfortable. Or she's trying to talk about vegans, in which case I kind of still suspect she scares people and makes them feel uncomfortable, or it's like misinterpreting them, looking at like not being sure what to eat or something like that. I don't fucking know, but this is just a weird, generally weird thing to say that I don't really relate to at all and haven't ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, agreed. Well, we're coming on to the purported critique of veganism, I think. One vegan wants oat milk, the next wants almond, the next wants soya, and they all think their choice is the most correct, and never the twain shall meet between the oat milkers and the soyas. They detest each other.
Now she's talking about vegans, which does make it seem like the last paragraph was supposed to be vegans, and you're right that a word was left out.
Yeah, and this is also a bizarre situation. I don't sense any massive tension between the soy milk drinkers and the oat milk drinkers, personally.
No, and this is sort of how I interpreted it originally when I said, if this is happening, it seems like you're just misinterpreting like choice paralysis for something deeper. Like if you have 5 different plant milks and you ask some vegans which they want to have with their cereal or something like that, they might all like ponder for a second. And if you're like some huge weirdo who's like constantly thinking about, I don't know, like justifying the animal holocaust to yourself and trying to project weirdness onto vegans and stuff, maybe you're somehow liable to misinterpret them thinking for a sec about what they want to drink as some, deep internal moral struggle. Like this person just seems weird. honestly. Just from what I've read so far, they just seem like a strange person. It's fine, you can be strange, but it's kind of not really sure that this article is speaking to any kind of real phenomenon. Seems like it's probably something that either didn't happen or that they misinterpreted or that's just a result of their idiosyncratic behavior.
Yeah, this is interesting. Maybe they're going on to talk about some sort of other infighting, and this is just sort of foreshadowing. I mean, there is infighting that we could talk about, but it's not really about whether almond milk is better than soy milk.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I hear that you're anticipating that it gets to something more significant as we go through the article, but I just can't help but remark on the kind of weird tone and setup. Like it's just strange. It's just a weird start to an article.
Yeah, for sure. These things are always. I always think there's some reading the Telegraph articles as well. They're just like written to be read by anti-vegans, basically, right? Often in tone and setup. She goes on, they detest each other. They wouldn't share a life raft if their peace flotilla was sinking and they were about to drown. A folk singer sat gloomily at my table.
Is that suggesting that all vegans or most vegans are like pro Palestine or something?
Yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
it's just all
know if
wokeness,
that.
isn't it? In this right-wing journalist mind.
I mean, it might be a majority opinion. Like I think most vegans lean left, but there's nothing that necessarily means that a vegan's going to be pro-Palestine, and there's plenty of vegans who I know who aren't. So it's sort of weird, straw man-y, really weak humor kind of cringe thing to say. Like
Yeah.
what? All vegans are like hardcore leftist fucking Palestine sympathizers, basically. That's what's being said there. That's just not true. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it's just a weird. It's not funny. It's not like I'm not like, oh, ha ha ha, yeah, vegans and their flotilla. Like I don't get it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, a little bit lame. And since we stumbled onto it somewhat, this is something that I've thought before about. I think we spoke about this very briefly when we did
Sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
but weren't, as far as I'm aware, all the people on the flotilla Holocaust supporters? Like, were there any vegans on there?
eaters, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know that there were no vegans, but I imagine that mostly, yeah.
I didn't hear anything about any vegans on there, and the person who is the most well-known on there, I thought, was Greta, who I'm not under the impression is a vegan. So, I mean, these are your people. You complain. How about the Carnus and all their peace flotillas, right? Like, I mean, what's the connection to the vegans there?
Yeah, indeed.
This just seems like super low effort, like mock a group that you don't have much of an understanding of, very uncharitably, don't really try to meaningfully understand what they're talking about. I mean, this just, so far, my interpretation, or my impression, I mean, of this article is just that it's like really lowbrow, out of touch trash.
True. Based on true. There's a couple people in my chat saying Greta is vegan.
Is she?
Yeah,
well, if that's the case,
plant-based
good
at
for her.
least, she says. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure if that is the case. I've never heard anyone talking about her being vegan, and I'm kind of suspicious about that being the case. But if that is the case, then good for Greta.
I feel like I have heard it. I can't
find anything important I said.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either way. I feel like I have heard it, but yeah.
Edge News saying she's vegan. Is this old though? 2022. Yeah, I don't know. Here's another. Greta Thunberg is no longer vegan. Has she made any clear statement about this? Or is it just like people in the comment just hopping on the first article that they see?
Well, as I'm
kind of seeing like just on first pass, I'm just seeing a bit of both.
Yeah, I'm seeing a bit of both as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, oh, what else was I going to say about this? Oh yes, as we sort of stumbled onto it, and you said that you know plenty of vegans who are not necessarily pro-Palestine. I was thinking of this as like a useful thing to not get drawn on, basically. There's this concept of like wedge issues. You know what that is? Like in politics, you have wedge issues.
I think so. It's like some kind of dividing issue at the niche that not everyone in a given community agrees with.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that this is a very common like right versus left tactic, basically, because there are a bunch of sort of wedge issues on the left, where Israel Palestine might be one, where you know not everyone on the left necessarily is in agreement on this, or trans issues, or various different things like that, where there is a variety of perspectives from people who probably agree on a bunch of on most other things, basically, and to the extent that you can have the conversation be about those few things where they disagree, it's going to, you know, wedge the other side, right? To kind of split the vote and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So let's crack
Oh,
on with this.
like, sorry. Were you asking what, like, for something like my take on talking about wedge issues, or?
Yeah, if you want to give a take, for sure. I mean, my thought. Yeah, there's a lot of political issues that I don't really comment on one way or another, almost as a matter of policy, so that I remain quite vanilla on everything else except for the one issue that I do talk about. What's your thoughts on that? Or what's your approach to that?
Um, I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't think that I mean, yeah, I'm not sure I have a clear view on that. I don't think that you want to be making like needless, super controversial takes on something you barely know anything about. Like that sounds like a bad idea. Like Gary Yourofsky making comments about certain political things, and then like really strong comments like out of a desire to just be open and share what he actually thinks, but making really strong statements and then not really being accountable for them, or being like frustrated when people hold him to account. I mean, I don't really think that's a great look. I think that you'd probably be better off like either not making those statements or being willing to defend them or something. I mean, he kind of is. I don't know. I guess with me, I'm not sure. Like, I sort of answer most things people ask about, but I try to also be clear about my credence in them. So, like, with Israel, I don't know much about that topic. I lean to the degree that I've learned about it in the pro-Israel direction pretty strongly, but it's a weak credence. So, and sometimes people get confused, like strong leaning, weak credence. You could have a weak credence that someone is overwhelmingly correct, or something like that. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know exactly. I'm not sure what's best empirically. It's like an empirical question. I sort of don't think you should have really strong takes on things you don't know much about. I guess generally, but it's probably even worse if they're really politically polarizing. And I think you should try to be clear about your credence when you talk about things. But yeah, I don't know that I would say that people need to maintain a vanilla position on everything except veganism or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a strong view there. But that's just some loose thoughts I have about it.
For sure, fair enough. It might be helpful if I describe like the opposite approach, or the way I was thinking of the opposite approach, I guess you could say, which would be something like we should be vociferously pro-Palestine, because then pro-Palestine people might also support our cause, or there might be some sort of synergies or benefits to be had. Of course, the downside of that is not everyone is going to be pro-Palestine, and so you might just be shaving off some, X% of what other people might have listened to you otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, you should be pro whatever the thing is if it's the right position, and if you've spent enough time looking into it to have a strong credence on it. But I wouldn't say, like, everyone should just align with my position on some particular issue they might not have looked into, because it might, like, draw people to their other positions or something like that. Like, I think we want to be epistemically virtuous. I think that we want to be the kind of movement that cares about logic and that cares about philosophy and that doesn't take really strong views when it's not warranted. So I think if someone they just have not spent a bunch of time looking into a topic like that, I wouldn't want them to put on some, like, fake position for, like, some kind of perceived utilitarian benefit or something like that. I would just want them to be honest about what their beliefs are, or not talk about them. If they don't want to talk about them, they could not talk about them. But if you're going to talk about them, I would rather they just be honest about them and state them with whatever credence they actually have. And we should have some level of tolerance for people kind of being where they're at with topics. Like, think about a carnist, like, do you really harshly judge a carnist who just hasn't even, like, looked at the topic yet?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it just seems kind of weird. So yeah, I don't know. For me, the things that I gravitate to here are just being epistemically virtuous, being honest. That's kind of what I care about. I don't find myself drawn to any of these, like, signal really hard at this position you don't know anything about because it might have some utilitarian benefit. That doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah, that seems sensible. And I guess it's not super feasible to really maintain that as a personal position, just like purporting to believe something that, well, I guess it's not necessarily that you'd be, like, making up that you had some belief. I suppose we're really talking about the decision whether or not to talk about it. Hey.
Well, like, what are you asking? Are you asking if I think vegans have to talk about other things, or are, like, strongly advised to talk about other things, or, like, what are you asking exactly?
Yeah, fair question. Well, I don't know if I am asking anything, but I think already getting your thoughts is kind of useful. There's just, like, one school of thought that's, I might have been mistakenly calling intersectional, but it's like inter issues, basically. Like, all the types of oppression are kind of related, and therefore we should be sympathetic to all things in that direction.
Let's set aside the question of whether they're actually correct about any given issue. Like, maybe there's something that they think goes a particular way morally and it goes the opposite way. Just say that there are other issues that are relatively clear-cut morally. I mean, I think it's good to be on the right side of them, and if you want to do activism on them, go for it. I don't think I would say that everyone who's vegan has some kind of obligation to put time in on every other issue. I mean, there's certain kinds of things, like if your current behavior is somehow doing something morally fucked, that kind of makes veganism a bit of a special case in my mind. Like, if your default behavior is causing a holocaust, it's pretty imperative that you reflect on your default behavior. But if there's some other issue happening somewhere in the world that you're currently just not having any impact one way or the other on, would it be good, assuming no, opportunity cost or whatever from, not working on some other issue, would it be good to become aware of the correct position on that issue and then do something positive about it? Sure. But I mean, I don't like judge people negatively for not doing extra good.
Yeah, there's definitely something about prioritizing the things that which you have the most proximal impact for. Because I'm just thinking about it, and you could have some pro-Palestine activist who says, "Well, I'm not going to go vegan because that's going to be too divisive with respect to the people who might otherwise support my thing." And we would want to say, "Well, no, you should definitely do that."
I just don't care about this whole like you should do this because people who support this do that. Like, there's some eventual utilitarian point where I'll give in on basically anything, but that kind of reasoning just doesn't do anything for me. Like, what I care about is just what's actually true and what's actually morally meaningful. So, if they come with some like strong case that issue goes a particular way, and especially if you happen to be doing some kind of default behavior that's on the wrong side, I think you should probably get your shit together with that issue. But unless they've got some kind of really strong utilitarian case for like needing to direct your attention towards that rather than what you're already doing, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't like anything that takes you out of the frame of just thinking through issues honestly and carefully and coming to whatever is actually the right position and doing whatever is actually going to do the most good. Like, that's what I care about. I don't like anything that sort of suggests you have to start from some like default unity position on an issue that you like don't really understand or something like this. And I don't know. Like, I just why not just be like, here's another issue and I think we should care about it. Here are the reasons, and like engage people about that. Like the same thing we do with veganism. I don't want any kind of weird fucking piggybacking that's not actually occurring based on some value that I care about. Like, I don't know exactly how to characterize this, but I don't care about some like default unity or that's got bad empirics behind it. Some like, oh well, people will like probably think this particular, just some like vague intuitive like what might be good for utility without any real analysis. Like, I just don't care about stuff like that. I want things that actually logically make sense and that actually align with my values. And if people want me to care about some other issue, then that's what they have to do. Like, they have to actually give me a real reason to care about it, show it really aligns with my values. And if they, for some reason, want me to pair all of my vegan discourse with discourse about that issue, then they need to make some utilitarian case. It doesn't have to be utilitarian. I just picture it being utilitarian because it's typically like sort of framed kind of utilitarian in a kind of utilitarian way when you hear these sorts of things. That doing so is good, right? Which is just to say a case that it maximizes utility to some, well, for me it's going to be to some meaningful degree, because I'm not really just a straight utilitarian. Like, if it maximizes utility barely and I don't care about the thing all that much, it's just not that interesting to me, then that probably wouldn't motivate me. You probably need to get over that kind of threshold. So I don't know if I really have anything else to say about that. I just don't like things that try to, like, I don't know, morally trap you into not thinking things through logically and thinking through if they really align with their values. Like that, with your values. That's what really matters, not some weird like social pressure to join some other thing because it seems like vaguely similar, or we have some like utilitarian intuition with like no data behind it that it'll like maximize the thing we already care about, which is veganism. Like, I just don't want any lazy shit. Just if there's an issue, just give me the issue, give me the reasons to care about it that align with my values, and that's all there is to it. It's very simple. And anything that is in some way trying to not do that, I'm just gonna almost certainly not care about.
Yeah, I think that's the proper way to think about each issue sort of independently, isn't it? I suppose I'm framing it as like a political question, which, yeah, I'm similarly skeptical about if it even works like that, in the sense of you go and do a day of Palestine activism and you're sort of hoping that empirically some of those guys will come and do some vegan activism, and maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. It's kind of speculative, and you're definitely not, you'll definitely have the opportunity cost of your time doing that in the first place. So, but yeah, it becomes a whole like bunch of empirical, practical things about whether that would actually happen and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like you're given some vague intuition pump or something and told to like go protest for Palestine. It's like, well, like that's obviously not going to do anything for me, right? Like I want real reasons, not like if it's just some super low credence vague intuition pump. Like my vague intuitions might go in the opposite direction, right? I might
Right.
be like, it kind of seems like all these intersectional groups kind of demand vegans do their intersectional activism and then just fuck off from doing anything about veganism, and we
Which it
just
kind
get
of
our own
does.
energy
Yeah.
siphoned. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe it's just that there's a lot less vegans, so it's like it's easy for it to seem skewed or something like that. I don't know, but like at the end of the day, I'm just not into the lazy reasoning. Like, there are values that I have, and it's very simple in principle. If you want me to care about something, show it aligns with those values. And if you want me to care about it to a degree that I like repurpose my energy towards it, or always pair my vegan discussion with discussion of that thing or something like that, then you it's just the same thing but stronger. You need to show that it optimizes my values to some like very large degree. Or I guess theoretically, you could try to somehow persuade me to have other values and then show it aligns with those values. But the point is, like, this is what you actually have to do. And some like just appealing to values I don't hold is not going to do anything. And appealing to values I do hold, but with some super weak empirical case, that's not going to do anything. So, if you're just ideological about whatever intersectional issue, like, good for you. I'm happy you care about something, but if you want me to care for it, you can't just like ideology me or intuition pump me into it. You got to give me, actual good reasons to believe it aligns with my values, my current values, or give me new values and then reasons to believe it aligns with those. And if you want my energy repurposed or something like that, it's going to have to be a particularly strong alignment with my values, to a point that I start going like, oh, it would be like kind of shitty to not talk about X thing also, because doing so, it comes at like very little cost to me and does some kind of like massive good or something, right? You want to get me thinking something like that. So yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do, something in that general kind of territory.
Yeah, agreed. It also
Yeah.
seems like a good junction to, by the way, I'm skimming the rest of this article and it looks like similarly kind of just slightly cringe prose. So I do have something better for us to look at than this. I should have read this in advance.
That's a funny way to put it. I think that's actually a really good description. Cringe prose.
Yes, indeed, yeah. But I don't think there's much of an argument here. Really, it's just sort of like, yeah. I mean, it's cringe prose. It is. But I do have something more interesting for us to look at. But just while we're on that point, I think it's useful to think about as well how much the veganism or non-veganism or vegan activism is impactful, whether or not one person engages with it compared to like most other issues. In terms of my ability to really impact what's going on in the Middle East, for example, I mean, I can vote, and that's, you know, I can lobby my MP about something, and I might not live in a constituency where my vote matters much, and I you know, might be met with various degrees of agreement from my MP. So it's pretty limited, really, the sort of expected impact of my political action on the Middle East, for example. Whereas in the case of veganism or doing vegan activism, there's like definitely hundreds of lives at stake, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it were like significantly higher utility than some of the things that are some of the other things that are on the table. And that would make it extra funny if people think we need to, in any kind of like zero sum way, start like redirecting attention towards the other things. Like that's basically just going to turn out being a utilitarian wrong. Or
Right.
I guess depending on your form of utilitarianism, like a suboptimality or something, or a worsening of you know, your current output.
Yeah, because you'll you'll be spending time on just less impactful. So even if it is still good, it'll be less. Less so.
So should we read more of the cringe prose, or did you want to go to another, or what are you thinking? You didn't get too far into it, but it is I have a like my inductive fucking mental police siren for this is just gonna be like complete trash is already like blaring loud and flashing red. So I
Yeah,
mean, I'm down for whatever you want to do.
I think so. Yeah, I mean it's not even that long, but it looks like just more of the same. She's got a riff about, would you like a medal? Maybe we could arrange it for you to be presented to the UN by the child of Ben Affleck wearing an enormous COVID safety mask. It's all this similar sort of like,
It's not even
the
funny.
flotilla.
It's
Yeah.
like I don't have any kind of problem with making jokes about flotillas and COVID or whatever. Like I'm fine with pretty dark humor. I make some pretty dark jokes or laugh at them. It's just not good humor. It's just not funny. It's just lame. It's like someone who doesn't know how to actually make a funny joke and just thinks that vaguely signaling at anything like, and other side likes this and other side likes that. Oh, and isn't other side stupid for this? It's like, okay, just so lowbrow. Like, can't you come up with some clever way to talk about the thing they don't like that makes it like funny or something like that, instead of just any signal at all about something the other side thinks? Like,
Yeah.
and what are we supposed to make of all that? Are we just supposed to go, oh, well, there's associated beliefs that seem pretty stupid, so I guess veganism's pretty stupid and shouldn't be analyzed on its own terms? Like, it just seems like trash. I mean, maybe it's about to take a huge turn and somehow improve, but it's currently just reading like dog shit.
No, the main bit, yeah, I agree with you. And the main bit I can see here is basically just like the writer is clearly confused about what veganism is. She says often these vegan dietary requirements are extremely philosophically confused. A lot of people ask for eggs but no meat, or meat but no eggs, or eggs and meat but no milk.
Yeah, okay.
It's like,
I
okay,
mean,
this is
this is
not
okay. So this person literally just hasn't. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm glad you read that paragraph because,
right.
or started to before I was triggered to had to cut it. Like, this person obviously just has no idea what vegan means. I mean, they're like vegan dietary requirements, and then in the next sentence ask for eggs. Like, I mean, there's no way this person is on some fucking crazy philosophical tunnel about like theoretical eggs that are like harvested in perfect condition. They're like, no, like this person just seems to not even know like the distinction between veganism and vegetarianism. Who would write an article criticizing something if with such little understanding of it? Like, you just have to be some completely retarded, like, politically partisan loser who just reflexively hates anything they can associate with the other side and just raves about it with like zero effort put in to understand anything going on. Like just talk about just a sad, pathetic place to end up in life. And I guarantee you right-wing vegans are going to be triggered by this. Like,
Right.
I mean, I don't know exactly how you'd class me. Like, I might very well classify as like mildly right wing, but I mean, I know vegans who are like pretty right wing, and they're just gonna think this is fucking stupid. They're gonna be like, yeah, I agree with like a ton of the anti-left stuff, but what's with the like level zero understanding of veganism and just vague gesturing it into some bucket of shit from the left? Like, fuck off. How about actually understanding the view and then saying something meaningful about it?
Yeah, this is they also go on to conflate gluten-free and dairy-free political statements like, right, gluten-free is not really anything to do with this, but okay. That's
It's
a
not a
classic sign
fucking
of
political
misunderstanding.
issue. Like, maybe in some vague sense, but I've never seen any like ethical movement around. Like, I mean, it depends how you define ethical, but like the gluten stuff, as far as I understand it, is just, I mean, I think there's some amount of like weird fucking pseudoscience shit with gluten, but as far as it's a legitimate issue, I think it's just some people have some kind of allergic reaction or some kind of condition that makes it hard to consume, and so there's some level of will out there in the world to accommodate them and have gluten-free options. Like, unless there's a whole fucking world of gluten activism that I've been missing all these years, I guess maybe that's possible. It just seems very weird to even be treating that like a political issue. Like the gluten people, as far as I understand, are not necessary. Like, I don't know the statistics on what political direction the fucking gluten free, like, is it even right to call it a movement?
Yeah,
It's like talking about like the dairy allergy community like they're a political movement or something. It's just
right.
fucking weird.
Yeah. That is bizarre, isn't it? Yeah. I think that the right wing schema of this is that you're meant to be triggered by people who are gluten free but not actually celiac for some reason. Goodness knows why.
Right, 'cause they care about some like hippy dippy fad kind of thing,
Maybe some
and
sort. I think it's literally just the next thing to be mad at. It's just there certainly is a demographic who are mainly just looking for stuff to be angry at in their news.
they're like, oh, now gluten?
I guess it now gluten. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just fucking weird.
Did you see? To I'll jump to another thing now. I think we do need to expose you to any more of this.
Yeah, sure.
But I do kind of have just like a series of things that'll probably trigger you to different extents today, I'm afraid. So, strap
Oh, okay.
in.
All right.
Well, the next one, you might have seen this. This was posted about a week ago in the AMA on Reddit. I was paid to discredit veganism online, AMA. Have you seen this?
I saw the article pop up, but I haven't actually read the article. Is there a link for this one, or is the link also paywalled?
No, let me send it to you. It's a Reddit post, so it's an Ask Me Anything on Reddit.
Okay, let's
So
see.
I just sent it to you in DMs. A lot of
Okay, this
stuff
one I
will
seem
be-
to be able to see, just because the font is a little easier there than
Nice.
doing the pure text. Okay, all right, I've got it open. So I no, I've not read it. I just saw people posting it.
Yeah, I've read the main thing and I've read some of the answers, but there's some wild stuff going on here. It's just a very like solidifying example of something which we kind of knew was happening anyway. So they linked
Got
to
a
this.
lot of upvotes. 15. This is, I don't know Reddit. Is that, it looks like upvotes or likes or something? 15K?
Yeah, that I presume that is a lot. I think AM Ask Me Anything is like quite a big subreddit, but even so, I presume that is a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's just a big number for any piece of vegan media. Like, normally when I see highly well-received vegan media, it's like a few thousand, so that's a large number. But maybe the numbers are just bigger on Reddit, or maybe this has somehow drawn in other communities.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it is about, well, clearly it is about veganism, but it's so obviously it's an issue on which veganism is the right side of. That's clearly, everyone in this case was supporting the vegans, but that's not always the case, or the vegan perspective, right?
Okay, well let's read it. Do you want to read through it?
Yeah.
It's pretty short, so maybe we should read the whole thing and then talk about it.
Yeah, it's pretty short. We'll read the main section, and then there's also, it's an AMA, so there's comments where the person gives, people are asking questions and they give more detailed
Oh, I
answers.
see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they link to this Guardian article from last year, which was about this. So we kind of knew that something like this was going on. They have this messaging machine in Colorado, which is literally a big office where a bunch of people go and do this for their day job. And here, well, this is a whistleblower essentially, someone who did this job previously, and now they're dishing the dirt.
Their evidence, or are they just this? They're claiming this all.
It's an anonymous account. They say they're under an NDA, which I suppose that you would be, so they probably can't really provide any evidence. Or
yeah, so we basically, I mean, we'll see what they say, but basically we don't know if this is real or not. But okay, let's have a look at it.
That's true. We don't know necessarily if this is real. Much like the breakfast story from the previous article, I think it is, or well, maybe not like that story. Like I say, like there's this Guardian article about the offices of people who do this sort of thing. I think that this is real personally, but yeah, we'll let's have a look at it anyway.
Sure.
Okay, so it starts off. For a year, I worked for a meat industry trade group. I won't say which one, but they're US based. My job was to go on sites like this, I read it, and discredit veganism. We'd make multiple accounts and pretend to be vegans who had bad health outcomes. Or we'd pretend to be vegans and we'd push the vegan subs to be more extreme and therefore easier to discredit. It was pretty gross, I knew it, I did it anyway. The pay wasn't worth it. I signed an NDA as well, so I'll only be able to answer questions in general terms. But I do warn you, don't believe that everyone is who they say they are online. This article gives insight into how it works, but I'm not saying I worked for this group. I link to the Guardian article. The recent reveal of many MAGA accounts on X being run by foreign agencies made me decide to do this. And then they say, I already answered the how do you get this job question, the why should we believe you question several times.
How do I get this job? A bunch of fucking
Yeah,
complete
who's asking
human
that?
garbage out there. Jesus Christ.
Right. That'll be interesting. What have they said to why should we believe you? They might just say they don't care. They don't care.
Hard to think that they would have anything to say if they are, as they claim, under an NDA. Like, stuff like this is just, I mean, who the fuck knows?
Well, someone said, why should we believe you now? And they said, you shouldn't. You should be skeptical. This is an anonymous account.
Well, I'm glad they're signaling some kind of appropriate epistemology, but yeah, I mean, the appropriate epistemology is just having no clue if what they're saying is true.
Right.
Okay, so did you want to read certain things about it? Do we want to just assume it's true for analysis, or do we want to just look at what they're saying, or?
Yeah, let's assume it's true for analysis. Again, we do so. We won't go through the Guardian article, but that came out I think a couple of years ago, and was talking about. Let's see the details of this. Basically, this round-the-clock communication center, which is, a bunch of people sitting at computers doing this sort of thing. So yes. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that this is true. And I guess I'll read a couple of the questions and responses, and you can just sort of react as you'd like to.
Sure.
Okay, nice. The first one, top voted question says, by discrediting vegans, did you only pretend to be vegan and have health issues, or did you also make pro-meat accounts and discredit vegan arguments openly on X or Reddit? How many accounts out there do you think exist to discredit or shift public perception? The OP says, oh yes, we'd make up some doozies. We'd get a list of nutrients that are certainly available on vegan diets, but not as plentiful, and we'd go to town. X, Reddit, Facebook, elsewhere. Sometimes we'd debate vegans openly, we had many accounts. How many accounts are there? I'd say half the accounts on certain Reddit subs about this topic are not genuine. One ploy was to make a new account, post about a falsified vegan health issue, and say the account was new to keep the cults from knowing I'm saying this, when in fact the whole thing was staged.
I mean, under the assumption it's true, this might explain why so many people I've dated over the years are retarded. I don't know, like, I'm not sure I think much at all about that. There's a lot of Holocaust supporters out there who say stupid shit about nutrients, and one explanation could be that they know better and they're paid shills, but I don't know.
Yeah, I did think that. The things that this person is saying are like kind of things that anti-vegans on the internet have always said. They're talking. There's an next post. They're talking about what they were mentioning. It says it was multifaceted. Discredit veganism on nutritional grounds. Argue some meat production is sustainable. Argue that animals are harmed by all sorts of things, so why not eat them? Definitely cherry-picked data and made some claims we knew were false. Crop deaths issue was a big one. Would embellish the heck out of that because there were no studies that could say one way or another how many mice in a soy field.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying for so long that there's just never any data about that, and vegans get so fucked and confused about that shit. So that if there are paid shills out there, then that is definitely a good topic to try to sow confusion on because it trips vegans up.
Yeah, we've spoken about this before, and actually the third thing that I had for us to look at, which maybe we won't have time today, because we'll read this Reddit thing for a bit, but is this old conversation article about crop deaths, which is from 2011, and I've seen it cited a few times. I'm sure you will have seen it before, but yeah, we can get into that if we have time.
Well, I mean, we're coming up on the hour mark, but I had to reschedule one because of moving, so I'm down to continue for longer. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, nice. Yeah, well, let me know if you have any kind of limits, hard or otherwise, and we'll
Sure.
Yeah, we can wrap it up whenever you'd like.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Somebody's commented, "How do we know you aren't a vegan? Making all this up to discredit big beef."
Yeah, that had crossed my mind, and then I just felt like it wasn't worth saying. But that person who said that has lower standards than me, so yes.
Quite. Well, they said the person replies, "You don't. That's part of my point. Be skeptical of everything online and consider sources. Are they credible? You have every right to be skeptical of me. If you are skeptical of me and others, then I've done my service in making people smarter and better protected from scams and frauds." Interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's a reasonable thing to say. It doesn't lead me to think it's any more likely true than not that they signal some epistemic virtue, and maybe they're not trying to make you think that their original post is more true with that comment. But yeah, you could say there's value in that way. Like whether this is true or not, this is a possibility for the kind of thing that's going on out there, and knowing that increases your I don't know, it improves your analysis in some way. Like you have, another option on the table now. Like, oh, maybe this person is just completely fucking brain dead, or maybe these topics are being discussed ad nauseum after being falsified because there's actually some kind of funded effort behind it. Like, yeah, that could turn out being true, and if that is true, then you've been made aware of the possibility by this post, so that could be a good thing.
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. I wish I could remember more details from this Guardian article that actually talks about it. Um,
I
they
mean,
are
I'd be surprised if there was no industry funded disinformation. It seems like
right.
something that you would do if you had, a ton of money. I mean, maybe it turns out that they do internal research and it just doesn't really pay dividends and then no money goes towards that kind of stuff. It could also not be the case, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was efforts like that.
Yeah,
If there were efforts like that.
yeah, for sure. And there's efforts like this in different realms. Like there are quite cynical environmental scientists. I'm seeing Frank Mittler on this Guardian article, who teaches the MBA, the Masters in Beef Advocacy. That's a real thing,
Jesus.
right?
That's like, is that just like paying to become like misinformed about stuff? Like, I don't know, I
Right.
guess I'd have to see what that's like, but it sounds like you're paying to learn how to do ethics poorly and communicate it to people or something. Like, imagine a masters in like, I don't know, like anti fucking in like slavery apologetics or something. Like, okay, I mean, as it seems like you'd just be learning how to be unethical and convince people of it or something.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is pretty much the gist of it. It's as bad as it sounds. There's a YouTuber who actually did it. I think a vegan YouTuber who I don't know if they bought the course or somehow got access to the course materials. Uh,
Wait. Sorry. It's an online course? I thought it was an actual master's program. It's
that's a good
just
question. I don't
called
know.
masters?
I don't know how
'Cause I
online it is.
shit like that always fucking makes me laugh and drives me crazy. Like, oh, it's the masters in something, and then you look at it and it's just called that, and it's not actually a master's program. It's like a 2 week online certificate or something that has absolutely no value.
It might be like that. Yeah, it might be like that. I mean, who gets to say what is a master's? Is it taught at university? I guess is one question.
Hmm.
MBA trained. That's so big.
Yeah, that is hilarious. Oh man. Oh, wow.
Oh, the way that they frame it, as they've quoted here an MBA course document. Uh, these advocates
Who's
also help.
they? Who are we talking about right now?
Sorry. This is the Guardian article quoting a document from the course, um,
Yeah.
talking about. Well, it says these advocates also help to respond when there is misinformation in the public about beef production. So, from their perspective, they're saying that the anti-beef stuff is the misinformation, and that their trained advocates are going to correct it. Do you know what? I think it might well be just an online course.
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious.
I
I
think.
became a reverend online in like grade 4. I remember printing the certificate and showing people that I was Reverend Isaac. Kind of
Nice.
reminds me of that.
Yeah, I think it might be similarly legit.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, yeah. So yes, there's a lot of people saying this reminds me of a post that I saw when someone said. Someone says it reminds me of a post here from a ways back where the guy was posting on the relationship subreddit or something about how his wife's personality completely changed and she became like a weird crunchy right winger after becoming vegan, and it was because she turned out to have a vitamin deficiency. OP says that definitely sounds suspect. It's kind of funny. Making up stuff like that was fun for a while. We'd laugh our asses off. Literally just these like meat industry shills laughing at us while they're just making up bollocks about veganism.
Yeah. Sad if true.
Somebody said, uh, so this is called astroturfing, by the way. You probably heard that term before, where it's like making up social media sock puppet accounts, and making like fake grassroots support, I guess, for an idea. So definitely there is something that happens. someone says it's crazy what lobbying and PR firms do. Imagine what they're doing to influence on topics that would actually make a difference to industries, because as you say, veganism's economic threat to the existing meat industry seems incredibly marginal. That's an
Sorry,
interesting...
say that again.
They said, imagine what they're doing to influence topics that would actually make a difference to industries, because, as you say, this is you being the supposed whistleblower, veganism's economic threat to the existing meat industry seems incredibly marginal.
Yeah, I mean, if we assume the article is real and assume that the willingness of companies to, or their desire, or their level of engagement in this kind of misinformation is just a function of how big a threat they perceive a thing to be, then yeah, there's probably things that are bigger threats and that have more misinformation campaigning directed at them. There's some parts you need to kind of assume to get there. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I find a lot of this stuff is like hard to think about. Like it's very hard to know what's real online, what's actual people, what's just bots or some kind of weird artifact or something. I feel like if you have really high conviction about what percentage of stuff going on out there is real or not, then I want whatever fucking data you have.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Someone in my chat, well, my buddy, is saying that Natalie Fulton spoke to this guy. Natalie Fulton is the YouTuber who did the MBA course, by the way.
Yeah, I'm aware of her. She was kind of evasive and dishonest with Avi, so I don't have a very... And she had a horrible video on NTT that I don't think she made a good correction of, where she had weird claims about moral realism, if I recall correctly, and had made a bunch of like unsupported empirical claims, and I think all we got was like a comment section point or something. So my impression of her is not very good.
Okay, I'll resist wading in on either side of that. I'll be diplomatic there. But okay, apparently she did this course. I've seen that video. I might have to go and watch that video later. But actually, comment's an interesting one. So someone has replied to that. The thing about saying veganism's is an incredibly marginal threat. I don't know if I would agree with that position. Someone else has replied saying they already analysed that question and continued spending the money. They should tell you how much of a threat veganism is to the animal industry and the level of ignorance that people have about the horrors of that industry. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that if vegans get very organised and very motivated and on the same page about what we can actually do to put a dent in this thing, we really could be like quite a bloody pain in the arse for the animal industries. I think, for example, if we could get like a load of people donating to effective animal charities that are then doing all sorts of campaigning against these companies, and just like incessantly posting online, I think that would be, if that was happening and attacking my business, I would think maybe it's worth doing something to try and disrupt that, basically, right?
I mean, yeah, if I don't know how there's some things out there about what percentage of the population you need to get change to happen and stuff like this. I don't know how much of a dent vegans could make at their current levels if they're organized or not. Maybe it would be significant, maybe it wouldn't. I'm kind of uncertain about that. One thing that comes to mind though is that the real threat is technological here. Like I really don't think that we're gonna get rid of the animal holocaust via vegan activism. I mean, that would be great, but my view of humanity is just like so far below, too low to ever think that's gonna fucking happen. I think that it's gonna be technology in the same way that nobody rides around in a horse and buggy anymore because we have cars now. Once you have lab meat at scale, and it's tastier, more varied, more available, more economic, like you can afford it better, and healthier, if I didn't say that already. And then you pair that with like marketing that sort of says that the old stuff is just sort of like violent and gross. And I mean, there'll be efforts against all of that. There'll be efforts to, but I mean, I don't know. I was talking with Richard about this recently. Like, I think in the UK or somewhere, they have to use these hilarious labels for vegan products, like calling vegan hot dogs soy cylinders or some fucking nonsense like that, because there's been legal cases where the meat industry has tried to lock down rights over certain terms or certain expressions
That's right. Yeah, it's a big thing
because
in the EU at the moment. The burger ban, so called.
I can psychologically get that one. Like, I mean, again, it's an empirical thing, but I can understand the idea of, I don't want a soy cylinder. Like, what's a fucking soy cylinder? Like, yeah, you fuck the vegan companies into having to use weird, alienating labels, and then maybe that'll screw with their business. But how the fuck are they gonna do that when it's just beef? Like, it's
Right.
it's just the same thing. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Who knows the power of big corporations with a lot of money? But it just seems inevitable to me that there's these things happening. I think there's bans on the production of lab meat in some areas in the United States, and I'm sure there'll be a very strong lobbying effort and a ton of pushback, but get annihilated by the fucking tide of history there, guys. You're done. Like, how are you going to scale cows versus real tech? Like, I'm a software engineer. I care a lot about technology. I know the difference between things that scale and things that don't scale. And I know the difference of well-engineered systems versus old legacy trash. It's just, without even bringing the ethics into it really in any large way, once you scale that shit, cheaper, healthier, more available, more variety, like, how are you really going to compete with that? And I think we're going to end up in a horse and buggy kind of situation where it's just not, who like, putting in all the extra inputs and dealing with all the bullshit and the antibiotics and all this shit. Like, it's just not going to be economically the sensible thing to do anymore. So I think there's kind of an inevitable tide that's going to come there. Yeah, I'd be happy if somehow vegans and vegan activism was able to become a huge threat and all this, but I just think I'm very doubtful of that, with it, unless you talk on like a huge time horizon, just because the moral character of the average person is just so poor. So yeah, I mean, I guess to me it seems like the real threat from their perspective, unless they're actually fucking brain dead or something, is the coming lab meat revolution. You want to suppress the fuck out of that if you're one of these corporations making money from the Holocaust.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, as you mentioned, there are some attempts to do that, right? You've got the ranchers in some American states lobbying for them to ban it at the state level. Although worth noting that it really is like the agricultural states where there really aren't that many people. They reckon it's surprisingly easy to get something like this passed at the state level, particularly when you're in a state that's not very populous and you have, like, the ranchers of whatever state are like a big voting bloc. And yeah, the interesting thing is that you have some of the meat processing companies and the big meat production companies now have some investments in what we call cultivated meat, lab meat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're already kind of like, well, we don't necessarily want to lobby against this too hard because we've got our eye on doing this down the line. I think that puts you in a really good position from our perspective, because there has been situations where basically those big lobbies, they're not against you, right? And the ranchers might be that's not sort of where the power is in the industry ultimately.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, if the fight is coming from the ranchers, but the big corporations are not actually siding with them because of their own investments gradually sort of shifting in the ratio or the percentage shifting or whatever. Yeah. I think also, I mean, again, it's empirical. There could be things I'm missing here, but what seems like the right intuition here for me is like, imagine states trying to lock down, car production or imports or something like that, and trying to keep things on horse and buggy mode. Like, eventually, like how, like you can just tell that would not have succeeded.
Right.
It would have been like putting, pebbles in the way of a fucking tsunami. Like, the tide of history is just going to annihilate you, surely, right? Like,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, it seems like the same thing to me. Imagine being in one of these states, like cucked out, paying some insane price for an inferior product when
Yeah.
everyone around you in all these other states is getting something that's like cheaper, healthier, and all this, and you just get eventually some bubbling up of just rage against the people keeping it the way it is, and then it gets taken down. Like, I think that fighting very obvious, inevitable technological trajectories, that is just a losing battle. And luckily, it just seems like veganism has got the fucking lucky card there, and it's the luckiest card we could have ever gotten in a way, which is our ethical values seem to be appropriately aligned with the technological trajectory that's looking pretty inevitable at this point. So yeah, people are very terrible ethically. Like, I mean, it's very easy before going vegan to not realize how unethical, just how really some significant amount of people are just complete human garbage. Like, you don't see people morally tried that often, right? If you're just a non-vegan, you're not thinking of veganism as a moral trial. You're going about your day-to-day life. You don't see trials that often, and you see them once in a while, and usually these moments of realization, like, oh, you know what, so and so isn't actually that good a friend, because eventually something came up where they kind of revealed themselves. These are like infrequent moments in a person's life, but when you go vegan, you suddenly are just you're going from n of like one or two to like n of fucking like dozens going up every day, as you just see both interpersonally, online, people failing with the most basic moral issue. Like, I remember I would struggle with moral questions even before I was vegan. I would think about things like, at what point would I give in if I were being tortured and I had to give up my family or something like this? Like, am I a bad person because I would not be able to sustain that? Which, by the way, my view on this is, like, I think that unless you have some kind of supreme training or something, you really can't call someone like you can't be judged as a ethically bad character for not being able to resist torture. But anyway, that's a digression. I would ask these questions and be like, I don't know, and like, what about the people around me? Are they stronger? When would they give up? Like, after having like a limb cut off or something? And holy shit, talk about a delusional position.
Right.
I thought that's the kind of point where people gave up. They give up at the point of mild inconvenience on the most basic ethical issues ever. So yeah, once you go vegan and you go from n of like one or two in your life to n of like just hundreds, you're like, or thousands, depending how long you've been around, you just realize, okay, yeah, a significant amount of people are just walking feces. They are just absolute trash, and they won't do the right thing. They care more about their petty pleasure and not having to go even slightly out of their way than they do about literally a holocaust. And once you get kind of black-pilled on the average moral character of people, then you look at the vegan activism stuff and you're like, okay, this is good. It's a good thing to do to help people improve ethically. And there's some people who aren't pieces of shit who are just going to see this and immediately go, oh, okay, and do the right thing. So I'm glad we have some amount of this. And even after the world goes plant-based, there will, in a way, be a continued purpose for vegan activism, like making people actually care about the ethics, which probably will get easier at that point, because as we know, people sometimes go vegan for health reasons, for instance, and then after that, suddenly they're able to care about the ethics. You know, before that, they start saying, well, it would be good for my health, but I don't really care about the animals. Like anything to
Yeah.
avoid the cognitive dissonance, because they're mentally weak and pathetic, and they want to try the thing but not allow them to think themselves to think about the ethics at all, because that would be troubling and they're too weak for that. But then once they go vegan and they realize how easy it is, or go plant-based, whatever terminology you want to use, then suddenly they're able to think about the ethics, and they're like, oh yeah, actually Holocaust bad. So I mean, maybe vegan activism gets easier after the world goes vegan. It's funny because people think vegan activism stops when the world goes vegan. I mean, again, it depends on your terminology, but no, like people are going to go plant-based from technology, and there'll still be an ethical mission that's basically totally separate from that. But yeah, once you take that black pill, you realize those efforts are sort of like if someone's trying to cross the country, these are like the make nicer shoes effort versus the tech stuff, which is like the building an airplane effort. Like it's literally not even comparable. And I think this also probably has implications for what you should be putting your money into. Like if you're into effective altruism or anything like that, I'm extremely skeptical that putting money into things like shrimp welfare or something like that, like it's probably like utterly hilarious to even thinking about comparing that to donating to the creation of lab meat or something like that.
Yeah, interesting. I've seen that there was a run-in about the shrimp welfare issue that Harvey had a debate about it. Right, I haven't watched the debate yet.
Yeah, the EA people tend to have good intentions and bad empirics. So they end up, and sometimes bad philosophy. So they end up at strange positions sometimes. And Avi gets triggered by it because he's quite good with empirics. He's the strongest empirical thinker and debater that I know. Um, so, you know, he'll get into it with these people and they won't know very basic things about different kinds of brain structures, and he'll start talking about like, oh, the different kinds of brains and the issues with using just neuron count, and it's a whole topic, but it just turns out that the EA people have built this like really ridiculous kind of just silly calculation that doesn't really make much sense, and when you actually bring in the real data, just all kind of falls apart. So yeah, EA, the way I think about EA is usually good intentions and bad empirics.
Yeah, interesting. The shrimp welfare charity, I believe that their estimate is something in the ballpark of 1,500 animals helped per dollar. Um, and all of the other estimates that I've seen for effective animal advocacy charities, as the Humane League and a few others, are more like 4 animals per dollar.
Yeah, it's gonna matter a lot if you're actually helping them, to what degree and what kind of consciousness they have.
Yeah.
I have to go to the bathroom though, so I'll be back in like just a few minutes.
No worries. No worries.
Okay.
How are we doing, chat? Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Andrew. Maybe we'll take a look at this later. Hey, the Natalie Fulton thing. This is 10 months ago, probably old enough for me to be able to watch it. Is this at an actual university, or is it just an online course, I wonder? And then, yeah, we'll do that RV shrimp debate as well, hey? That might be super boring. We'll have a look. Oh, yeah, there we go. Who's this? All right. Well, we'll line that up for later, maybe. 2019, Greta Thunberg is vegan. Chris confirmed a number of times that she is vegan. All right, Greta is vegan seems to be winning from what I can see. What's this Reddit post saying that she's no longer vegan? It's because she's alright. It's because she's wearing a wool cardigan in this photo. I don't think that's really the campaign for wool. Has she done a photo shoot for the campaign for wool? I don't know about that. This looks like it was for Vogue. That definitely seems like the type of thing that somebody could do absent-mindedly and not be like, I'm now no longer vegan. Yeah, I'd heard that she was, Andrew. This is the crop deaths article. I don't think we'll read this today, but I'll go through this sometime in the future with Owe. He knew about the field mice, eh? Oh, I know that I couldn't find the details of this actual centre that they have. I guess it's not this article that speaks about it, because I couldn't find anything for Control F Colorado. I'm finding that same Guardian article again. Am I just imagining they had something to do with Colorado? How Big Beef is funding education schemes to influence kids. Yeah, that's not surprising.
I have returned.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, what were we talking about? I feel like you were on a tear about something.
Oh, I was just talking about like using technology rather than vegan activism, which is likely to be more effective.
Yeah. So this is actually something that I have thought about a bit and work on and do a bunch of stuff with alternative proteins as well as meat reduction. I definitely think of it as like a push and a pull, where you have the new, increasingly better animal product alternatives and direct animal product analogs when you get to cultivated meat, and then also the push factors of what you could think of as vegan advocacy or things of that flavor, to actually give people a reason to disrupt their default thing that they're going to choose anyway. Because it's getting there with some of the plant-based meat now. In Europe, at least, I think this is less the case in America, but in Europe there has been such an increase in the price of meat from animals that plant-based meat, which traditionally always been much more expensive, is in some cases now cheaper than particularly beef products.
Good. I mean, I'd rather that happen by the plant stuff getting cheaper than the animal stuff getting more expensive, because it would be nice for the vegan option becoming better economically to coincide with prices coming down.
Yeah.
But whatever, at least the horrible stuff is getting more expensive.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's like literally for the first time in the past couple of years, I think the earliest reporting I found, it was 2022 in the Netherlands, and then there was Germany, and then the UK, where there's some products, some supermarkets. It's always before that, it's always been much more expensive. So, you know, pound for pound, some of the vegan alternatives are like twice the price, 3 times the price of the vegan
Right.
version, which is, you're asking a
Mm.
lot of people, right, at that level. But, you know, the economies of scale over time are on the side of the vegan things getting cheaper. And yeah, if you have a good bit of push message, because even then, people aren't necessarily going to be aware of that or go looking for it. Maybe they just don't go down the vegan aisle or whatever. So I think you need a little bit of motivating outside of just having very good products, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can have a great product, and if nobody knows about it, then you're not going to sell much of it.
Indeed, yeah, yeah. And by the way, the Good Food Institute, I'll just mention the charity since we were talking about the all protein stuff. The Good Food Institute is a good one to donate to there, and have been an animal charity evaluators charity. And also New Harvest is one that I donate to, which is all about cellular agriculture and kind of building the field of cellular agriculture, which is
Interesting.
cultivated. Yeah.
I don't know a lot about the different charities doing work on this kind of stuff, but yeah, this is encouraging to hear though. I mean, it's the hearing that the prices have gone up. Like, I really, in Canada, it's pretty brutal. Like prices, cost of living, all this stuff is just totally insane. So there's a bit of shittiness wrapped up in that. But yeah, I mean, there, as long as it's just the Holocaust stuff that's getting more expensive. I mean, I guess everything is getting probably more expensive, and that's just getting more expensive at a faster rate. But whatever. If it results in more vegan stuff, then this is good. I mean, over here, like I don't buy much like pre-made vegan stuff. It's great, especially when you're first going vegan, because it just makes it so easy. And it's
Mhm.
also great if you don't have a very healthy diet, because you can swap out, the things that you're used to eating. Like, I mean, if you're just eating like chicken fingers and stuff all the time, it's really good to just have these super easy analogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always been this barrier of it's more expensive. So seeing that go away would be really great.
I think that'd be huge, honestly. I mean, I've been in a lot of discussions about, the direction of the plant-based market. It's been a challenging few years. I think mainly because the products are still more expensive on the whole. And like I say, we're literally just about getting to the point where some products starting to just be the right side and be cheaper. I think it's continuing in that direction at pace. And in a couple of years' time, I think it'll be the norm that yeah, the vegan things are cheaper. If you don't want to pay so much for sausages, you can go get the vegan sausages and they are cheaper. I think that's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it sounds extremely good, and I think that happening at a broad scale with lots of things would probably have a great effect.
Yeah, talking about cultivated meat, where we can get like actual, we're not talking about plant-based now. It is just the same, and you're talking about the terminology. I think there's a much stronger case that it will allow to be called beef or chicken, for example. One of the things that people say on that is that if you are allergic to fish, for example, and you have some cultivated fish, you're probably going to be allergic to it, and it will not be much comfort if some bureaucrat has assured you that this is technically not fish because it's not
Yeah.
muscle. Right? It's like,
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. Yeah.
yeah, so that's a strong case for them to be able to still use the terminology. And I do think in our lifetime, it will be widely available, widely consumed, normal. There likely still will be farmed animal products, but it will be way easier to opt out of them once you have, direct analogs. It seems like we might get a chance to say a massive "I told you so" for having been vegan all the time.
Yeah, I mean, tech could make things happen quickly. And it'll also, again, like I said, with the people who go vegan for health reasons initially, then once they're vegan, they see it's easier. And then once they're there, suddenly they don't have the barrier to acknowledging the ethical issue. Obviously, that means you're a pretty pathetic person if this is you, and you should work on that and become not pathetic. But that is a lot of people. I think there's probably going to be a similar phenomenon where once we have made a big transition because of this tech, then it's going to be a lot easier for everyone to go, hey, wait, why do we have these fucking torture factories? We need to get rid of these things. Like, what the fuck is this doing in the 20th century? So, yeah, I mean, maybe that'll get easier when we have more people by default eating the ethical diet just for economic reasons.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, thinking about it in terms of like where we are in history and the sort of waves of these things. Like, we haven't really been doing factory farming specifically for very long at all. This is like a post-war invention.
No,
It's
things
around
come
for
and
less than
go.
100 years, right? It's going to be.
We've
It's a rare opportunity in history to be against something so obviously bad. You know what I mean? It's like you're going to miss the opportunity because people we're going to just default evolve out of it through
oh
tech,
yeah,
and people
the
could have
people
been
who couldn't
heroes
get it
and they
right
missed the chance.
people who couldn't get it right should be shamed for the rest of their lives. Like, you couldn't figure out Holocaust bad? Seriously? You weren't on the right side with that one? Like, look, you can talk whatever nice story you want, but if you fucked up a moral test that obvious and that consequential, you are a piece of shit, and you have to live with that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's going to be. There's really a future where saying, it's like the mainstream thing to say that, as you would have said for the defenders of slavery at the time and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right, like right now saying stuff like this, I'm one of the fringe, because vegans are the fringe, but people get very caught up in how things are immediately, and they have not a recency bias, a current configuration of things bias, where like, how could it ever be different? But just think about what we've seen in our lives. Like, how old are you? You're a few years younger than me, right? You're like late 20s or something.
I'm 32.
Oh, okay, you're just 1 year younger than me. So yeah, I mean, think of like the things we've seen come and go in our lives. Like, haven't we lived through the birth and death of the DVD? Did that happen in our lifetimes?
I guess so,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, tech comes and goes, and it can happen fast. Like, I can remember being a kid and my parents got cell phones, and before that, common thing was house phones. I think we've had cell phones for a while, like sometime in the 20th century, I think we had that tech, but widely available commercial cell phones, like, I mean, I might just AI that one quickly, but I think that was in our lifetime. When did we get widely available commercial cell phones in Canada? I mean, I think it's going to be like
late 90s, I want to say.
Around, late 90s, early 2000s. As I can remember when people were starting to get the Nokia phones.
Yeah.
Unless I was just unaware of whatever was happening before that.
No, I think
So service launched in 85, mid to late 80s. Service was extremely expensive, hundreds of dollars per month. Early to mid 90s is when the cellular service became more accessible to average Canadians. Late 90s, so about what you're saying, cellular phones became truly mainstream, with prices affordable enough for regular consumers and coverage reaching most populated areas. So, yeah, I mean, assuming the AI is accurate, which is, it's generally accurate for basic kind of stuff like that. AI is generally okay for a lot of things. Just, it's kind of like using Wiki or something like that. But, like, just think about that. We've seen an evolution from phones like that to having basically a computer in your pocket. I mean, it's got limited compute and whatnot, but you can play full games on it. Like, it used to be Snake. I can remember when the only game was like Snake and were Snake, Pong, like the very, very basic things. You have a GPS now where you can, like, I can remember when we would go on family trips and use paper maps. Like, I can remember my parents saying, Isaac, do you want to be the navigator? And be like, okay, yeah, sure. And then, we take out the map and I would be like, okay, we're taking a left here. And, like, that is like, people who are a bit younger, like the people who are like in their 20s right now, that probably sounds fucking insane.
That probably sounds made up. Yeah. We're such unks right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually the reality, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just I'm just trying to give an intuition pump, like just have some perspective on how fast things can actually shift. And I think that should kind of do a number on the whatever it is, the current state of affairs bias. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we could have a very large shift. Like, imagine that these industries get up to scale and suddenly there's a cheaper, healthier, I won't repeat the whole list, but you have that product and it's starting to spread everywhere. Consumers are just going to do normal consumer behavior. They're going to start buying that shit, and big companies and chains are going to start doing this. I can remember when the only vegan products were Yeeves, and then now you see quite a few vegan products when you go into places. It was heavier a while ago, I think, when there's a bit of a vegan boom, but things come in waves, like a sawtooth. They kind of go up and down, but higher highs, higher lows. Like, you know, I'm just saying that a lot of change can happen surprisingly quickly, and prediction like that we might have like the vast majority of people eating primarily synthetic or like that's I don't maybe that's not the right term, cultivated meat at some time in this century. That's not a wild thing to think. I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of thing happened.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And there, by the way, there's a couple of interesting analogies in the mobile phone or the cell phone case. One is that the thing that was in the summary there about the early versions being very expensive and probably low quality, like bad coverage or whatever. It's going to be similar story for cultivated meat. I think the first cultivated meat that's been available to buy has been very expensive and just only in small quantities and stuff like that, right? It's obvious. It's kind of a feature of technology coming to market is the first to the worst, basically, right? And it just gets better and cheaper from there.
Yes.
So that's one thing. And then, yeah, just to reiterate on the pace of change, like you would have been as an odd person if you had a mobile phone in the early 90s, and now you're an odd person if you don't, right? Or if you've only have a mobile phone and not a smartphone, they're like the crazy outcasts of society today, right?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of get the dumb phone movement. Like, I understand some of their reasoning, but yeah, I mean, they're the fringe now. Most people have a smartphone.
Yeah, and hardly anyone doesn't even have a dumb phone.
Yeah, and not even here, right? Isn't it global at this point? And when you look at computer usage in developing nations, they're like just primarily using phones,
Yes,
presumably
actually,
because it's cheaper and more efficient to have a phone than a personal computer.
that's actually another good analogy. There are, places in sub-Saharan Africa which will never have landlines. They never had them, and now they're not going to, because why would you?
Yeah, that's
There's,
interesting. Yeah.
that'd probably be the same with some animal products, right? It's like, meat wasn't widely produced and consumed in X country because they couldn't afford it at the time, right? Which is a big issue of people meat consumption going up as incomes come up.
Right.
But we could get to a situation where actually we had, shelf stable and cheap and reliable and safe food that was preferred over meat, and they never had factory farming in that country because
Yeah.
why would they? Yeah.
Yeah, and in a way, it can kind of be a bit of a blessing for some of these places, because in places like here, we have all this legacy stuff that you have to tear up or work around. And in some of these new places, you have just new systems building out. Like, you have like the legacy financial system and you have the new crypto system where it's like everything is open source, everything is, built more modern and like actually accessible to the average person. And set aside all the fuckery that happens there, you've got like much more powerful technology, and they're just getting that rolled out because there's some like disconnected community, and it's the first thing being set up there. Why not set them up something? They set up something that's cheap, efficient, but better. So like it's nice to be able to skip the phase of bullshit and get just whenever you're ready to start something started on the better rails from the get-go. I mean, obviously it's nice to like have the development, so it's unfortunate there's places that don't currently have the development, but there is a silver lining, I guess, is what I'm saying. Even though you kind of paid that price, at least when you get the thing, you won't have all the old legacy trash until whatever we currently have is also old legacy trash, but whatever.
Yes, true. I guess it's all going that way eventually, right?
Probably, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's definitely feeling quite optimistic about the state of cultivated meat. As you have a, I can't remember if I told you this. I've agreed a second debate with that Paul Wood guy about cultivated meat, and he is.
Sorry, was he the one who said that factory farming doesn't cause suffering? Was
That's
that
right.
him?
Yeah. That's right. We watched a bit of that debate together.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's a cultivated meat skeptic, I suppose, and is taking the position that it will only ever be a niche product and serve a small market and so on, and that it's essentially not scalable.
What is his training? He seems to have just horrible views on everything. Like, what's his education?
So he is a I don't know what precisely you would call it. He discovered some sort of drug in his early career. I think his department probably starts with bio. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that guy. Maybe he's a paid shill. Maybe this post should make us on the lookout for people like him. Maybe that's what's going on.
Maybe, yeah. He's a vet, amongst other things. Or has received some sort of veterinary award anyway. Oh yeah, inventing a new diagnostic test for tuberculosis. Tuberculosis.
Yeah, he seems just terrible. I mean, that factory farming thing was ridiculous. I'm amazed you got him to say that.
Yeah, that was pretty
and
wild.
His attempts to post debate weasel out of it and reframe it and stuff. It's like, some people are just so pathetic, dude. Just stop. Is it that hard to just be honest and not be a piece of shit? Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently sometimes it can be. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. He's the chair of an insect farming startup. Do you have any views on that? I might do a video about that soon. That's sometimes swept in with alternative proteins, insects. I'm thinking
it's
that
not really something I've looked into.
Fair enough. Okay.
Like, are they sentient? Is there a reason
that's what it comes down to, isn't it? I think, yeah.
Well, there's also other things. Like, if they have some very trivial level of sentience, it might be like, virtually a non-issue. Like, I don't know. I'd have to. It's like an empirical thing. I can tell you in principle the kind of values that I have, but whether they apply in some specific case of insect farming is just going to be a matter of looking at the particular insect in question and making some sort of assessment about what kind of experience they have, if any.
Yeah. My view, well, this is what I've said about it, but I'm definitely could be shoved around on this, I'm sure. I think you should be cautious that if there's a chance that they're sentient, we should sort of act as though they are. Because you partly have this small body problem thing, right, where you're going to have now 2,000 crickets to every cow or whatever it may be. I think that's about right, actually. That if indeed they are sentient, then it's like, well, now you have 2,000 times as many sentient experiences, right?
Yeah, but we obviously care about the kind of experience, right? Like, imagine if they have some super minimal experience and they only experience like the sharp kind of pain, not the dull, agonizing kind, and they, the kind of they have like less emotional cognition. Like, I mean, obviously it's not just a matter of going more sentience versus less. The kind of sentience is going to be like incredibly important. It might be that you'd have to have like a planet-sized glob of them to be equivalent to like a cow or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all going to be heavy empirical stuff.
Yes, it is.
I hear your point about precaution, though. Like, there's going to be cases where to not act runs no moral risk, but to act runs a moral risk, and in that case, you might opt for a precautionary principle. I mean, that kind of thing, in principle, makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Whether you should have a precautionary principle in any given case sort of depends on your assessment of the empirics, obviously.
Yeah, and what's the alternative? Yeah.
Hmm.
So, somewhat relatedly, someone in my chat's asking about oysters. I guess that. Do you know anything about that? Bivalves and.
No, I only know what I've heard from people who I assume know what they're talking about, just based on their general level of competence and seeing them defend similar things. As far as I understand, the case for oyster sentience is similar to the case for knee reflex sentience, and I don't think that like a knee reflex is like I don't think my knee is like a sentient being or something like that. So as far as I'm aware, it's a complete moral non-issue, and vegans can eat these as much as they want. But I don't have a very high credence there because it's not something that I've looked into. So this is another case of I have a low credence that it's highly not problematic.
Oh yeah, there you go. That was a real life example. I kind of raised an eyebrow when you said that earlier, but that was a good example of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds contradictory sometimes when you're like, wait, low credence, that big problem. How does that make sense? But it's like, yeah, you have a low credence that something's a big problem, or a big credence that something's a low problem. There's a separation between like assessment of how problematic it is and your degree of confidence that that assessment is correct.
Yes. It's almost like insurance.
Okay, I don't fully see the analogy, but you're probably right though.
It's like I probably won't crash my car tomorrow, but if I did, it would be so expensive that I'm going to get insurance because I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah, I'd have to think about the mapping, but that sounds in the right territory. It's like low probability of really bad thing.
Yeah, it's like
So
it's almost like expected value kind of thing, isn't it?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to. I mean, I've done some statistics courses. I'd have to refresh myself on these concepts. Expected value.
So I'm mentioning this to sort of like a
Probably
value if it is the case multiplied by a chance that it is
the
the case.
probability that
Yeah.
it's the case. Right. That yes. If that's what it is, then it sounds that like that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Expected value is a effective value of a random variable with a finite number of outcomes, a weighted average of all possible outcomes. In the case of a continuum of possible outcomes, the expectation is defined by integration. Okay, I'd have to like go over this. I have done calculations with expected value and stuff. I did do stats courses. I was pretty in pain by the end of the second one, but it has been a while.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's aligned with my experience of doing stats courses also.
Yeah.
Everyone's least favorite modules, I'm sure.
Everyone should do statistics though, because you should have these basic concepts. Like you should have some idea of what's going on there. So if you've like never heard terms like p-value or confidence interval, you almost like you shouldn't really be talking about like empirical topics with a high credence like basically ever. Like, I mean, I'm exaggerating a bit, but people have this crazy, like, it's like with logic, they make like really crazy inferences while not knowing anything about logic and making obvious logical errors while making the inference. It's similar with statistics, where they form like really strong empirical views without having any idea about how to analyze the statistics. Like, if I were going to approach an empirical topic, I'd be looking at the data and making sure I understand the relevant statistics and like refreshing on all these things and doing a fucking write-up. I mostly have been dealing with tech, so kind of programming and philosophy. So I haven't really been dealing with any empirical stuff at all. I don't really, it's never really been my thing. But that said, as somewhat of an outsider to the empirical analysis world, I know enough to know what I don't know, or what I vaguely know and would have to refresh to actually talk competently about, right? I'm not just gonna form like high credence views based on really poor analysis because I have no idea what statistics is even about. So, yeah, I mean, people will be lazy about this just like they're lazy about logic. They won't go and actually take the time, but they should, because then they will either know and be able to do good analysis, or if it's not something that they spend much time with, they'll at least know what they don't know and be able to adjust their credences appropriately. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. Sounds sensible.
Mm-hmm.
All right, dude. Well, I think I'm probably going to call it a night, to be honest. It's 11 o'clock for me.
Yeah, sounds good to me. It's been a very good conversation. I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, this was a good one. I came in, I sometimes think, oh, I better have some good questions and have thought about some philosophy to ask Isaac, but I came in with just these kind of 3 things I hadn't even read that we could kind of read and then branch off from, and I think that was quite good, worked quite well.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't take much, and then there's just a whole ton of stuff to be said. I mean, just that first article was just so bad. I feel like we spent like an hour just complaining about the first few like paragraphs of that.
Yeah, I did say to chat before we started, I'm just going to read Isaac 3 things that's going to trigger him today.
Yeah, well, you're certainly right about that. Okay, well, yeah, it's been a good conversation, and I guess we'll catch up whenever we catch up next.
All right, dude, I look forward to it. Yeah, nice talking to you.
Okay. All right, have a good one.
Take care. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate that. I guess I don't think I will watch these things now, but I might stream again soon, and we can watch Avi debating the shrimp thing, and Natalie doing the MBA, the Masters in Beast Advocacy. Appreciate you, Andrew. Appreciate you being here, dude. I appreciate that. Thanks everyone for watching, and I can't say when I will stream next. I was streaming a lot before, and then I haven't for a long time, so we'll see. I'll post the conversation with Ask Yourself if you didn't hear it in full, so you can take a look at that. But thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.